AEW is reportedly planning a massive surprise debut or return. We're going to talk about that in today's video. Plus, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff between AEW and the WWE draft. So make sure you guys check out the timestamps in the description down below. I want to kick things off with WWE. More specifically, this is a very, very positive story. AJ Styles, what's going on with him? Well, guys, according to PW Insider, they have reported that AJ Styles has been spotted in Texas ahead of tonight's WWE draft of Friday Night Smackdown. And PWI stated that AJ Styles is there, and given that Styles is listed among the names eligible to be drafted, there is a good chance that he could be appearing on Smackdown tonight. If you guys didn't know, WWE has a list of talent that are available for draft tonight, and then there's a list of talent that are available for draft on Monday night. Now, I don't know if I necessarily like that format, but we'll see how the draft actually goes. We know that Sean Ross Sapp reported today that WWE is set to have draft rooms and a podium for the WWE draft. So I'm hoping this is somewhat like the Ruthless Aggression era. Plus, we know Teddy Long is reportedly expected back. We spoke about that in a previous video. And then, of course, I've been saying that Adam Pearce should also be an on-screen authority figure. But honestly, this is really good news. AJ Styles wasn't seen for WrestleMania weekend. WWE, they're expected to do a whole bunch of surprises for the WWE draft, and they're not going to obviously tell everybody what the surprises are. But they did already mention that select NXT superstars will be available for the draft. I know there's rumors that Grayson Waller could be getting called up, Joe Gacy, Cora Jade. I mean, there's just a plethora of talent that I think are ready for the main roster anyways. So just in general, this is a really good news story. AJ Styles coming back. I miss him. Obviously, we want to see the OC. They haven't been on TV. I'm hoping that WWE puts them in some major storylines. Plus, you got the new World Heavyweight Championship belt. You got to start building stories for that. You got Shinsuke Nakamura getting a big push. You got Karrion Kross and a nice program with him. So there's a lot of potential here. Obviously, with the WWE draft, you know, it's exciting stuff. But it goes back to what I was saying with the podium and the stage, right? So WWE has a special presentation for the draft this year. And it just seems like WWE is trying to somewhat recreate the magic from the Ruthless Aggression era. And this is not the only move, right? Brand split pay-per-views. The idea that WWE can have on-screen authority figures again. The idea that WWE is going to really follow a strict roster split here is just a really good idea, in my opinion. And WWE is planning multiple surprises. WWE, and I think this is the really fun part of the story, is that WWE is looking at the WWE draft as a very big reset for the company. And by doing so, I think WWE, if they're really strict with it, they can do really well with it. I think that's the most important thing here is in years past, we would see the draft and then we would see this brand split and then it goes for a couple months. And then after that, it just kind of all falls apart because there's some sort of wild card rule. There's some sort of superstar shakeup, you know? And the thing is, if you're the WWE and you want to do trades or anything like that, you can do that. You can do those types of things. But the idea of breaking the entire rule of the brand split, I think, has always been a problem. And, you know, for me, I feel like what would work in a brand split, and it's not just WWE, but even AEW too, because they're expected to do one, is not only do you have to be strict with the brand split, but you really got to make these brands compete. It's not just doing Survivor Series and having Raw versus SmackDown, right? You got to have incentives for the better brand, and you got to have brand warfare. I think that is one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the aspect of brand warfare. It's one thing to split up the rosters. It's one thing to have Raw do its own thing and SmackDown do its own thing and have their own pay-per-views and their own shows. But if you can make these brands compete with each other and really try to legitimize it, try to make it feel real, have guys on Raw and SmackDown take, you know, a few minutes in their promo to shoot on somebody that's, you know, on the opposing brand. Like, those are the types of things that will get people really bought into the idea of an actual brand split. Just moving people to Raw and moving people to SmackDown, having them compete for championships, I don't think is enough. But honestly, I'm excited this year. And the fact that they have kind of a similar setup to what they've done a long time ago tells me that WWE is very well aware that this reset is needed and they have to get people excited about the future. So I think this is going to be great news. I want to see what Raw and SmackDown look like after the draft because I can get excited about draft night and I could be excited about some of the changes and some of the surprises that they're planning. But ultimately, I don't know if I can be truly, truly excited about a brand split in real time. right? I might enjoy the episodes in real time, but what I'm saying is to really know if the brand split is working, we're not going to know for a couple months, right? And I think that's really the big thing here is how do we know the draft is going to work? How do we know this brand split is going to work? I think a lot of that comes down to 8-9 months from now. How strict were they with it? You know, how much of a brand split was it truly? And I think those are the things that matter. Those are the things that excite me. But I am truly excited. There's tons of surprises being planned, and WWE, you know, I think the cool thing about WWE is they're not making the draft all about surprises. So that kind of allows the surprises to be really special. Guys, AEW has reportedly trademarked this new logo. It does look similar to the current AEW logo, but it is a little bit more modernized. Now, very interesting stuff. According to Andrew Ravens from WrestlingNews.co, he tweeted out this logo, and basically, for those who don't know, AEW publicly filed for the AEW logo on April 24th under merchandise purposes with the USPTO, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Now, this logo is a mark that consists of letters AEW displayed in stylized manner, and basically, this is going to be used for merchandise and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So, yes, it looks very, very similar to the main AEW logo, but it's a little bit more modernized. It's just a little bit cleaner. It's just a little bit more simplified. And, you know, here's the thing. We don't know the color aspect of this. We don't know anything like that. Obviously, we saw Dynamite and Rampage. They got the new blue and red color scheme. But I just think it's good for AEW to update their branding, update the marketing, update their advertising, update their all of these things, right? Like, these are things that are important to a company's growth. AEW is not the same company as they were 4 years ago. So obviously just seeing that it gets modernized is really cool. It's something I definitely appreciate as somebody who likes design and technology and, you know, business and branding and marketing. I think this is a cool thing. But of course, you know, with AEW, this is a very, very big decision, right? And the reason for that is because AEW reportedly has some big plans, and I think it could be AJ Lee. Now, there's no confirmation that it is AJ Lee, but Dave Meltzer was talking about something very interesting. With AEW Collision on Saturday nights, CM Punk is not coming alone. According to Dave Meltzer, another major debut or return is set to take place when the show premieres on June 17th, in addition to the already rumored CM Punk. While AEW has yet to even confirm the existence of Collision, the company has a date booked at Chicago's United Center on the day in question, and future Saturday events continue to be scheduled. The current belief is that CM Punk will act as one of the anchors for the new series, with a possible roster split dividing talent between Collision and Dynamite. Now, here's the thing. We know AEW is reportedly interested in Kota Ibushi. We know Kota Ibushi would also be interested in AEW. We've talked about that before. We know that Goldberg and AEW are always going to be linked in terms of rumors because Goldberg wants a proper retirement. But the reason why I think AJ Lee could make a lot of sense is because it is Chicago, it is CM Punk, and you know what? AEW's women's division, having AJ Lee would be a massive W for their women's division. And I just think that's what you need to do, right? If you're AEW, you need to bring in a massive, massive name for the women's division. You didn't bring in Naomi. You haven't brought in Sasha Banks, right? Bring in AJ Lee, and that's a big W for the company. So I'm glad to see that AEW has some big plans for Collision. I'm glad that WWE has some big plans for their brand split. I just want all of these wrestling shows to be really good, and at the end of the day, I don't really care how they get there. Just make really good television that I want to watch. Now, obviously, what I like and what you guys like might differ, but for my personal taste, I feel like AEW has definitely improved this year compared to last year. It's not perfect. I don't think WWE is perfect. If it was perfect, I would sit here and tell you guys it is perfect, but it's not. But WWE and AEW have been really, really good this year, and I'm super excited to see what happens next. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.